Yeah. Right, so today we have discussed about what we can say Jojila Pass. Right, so Jojila Pass, we have discussed that in the Great Himalayas, in the passes, right, Indian mountain system. So Jojila Pass, there we have encountered avalanche. Avalanche is what? Right, understandable from picture itself. You have large scale movement of snow, ice, debris, rocks and all that you have in the mountainous areas. So recently we have seen avalanche. So if you look at the map here, okay, this is the pass, mountain pass. So what it is connecting? If you remember in the map we have drawn, you have Great Himalayas, right? And on this side of Great Himalaya you have Kashmir Valley, and on the other side you have Leh, Ladakh, all these areas. So basically the Jojila Pass provides connectivity between the valley of Kashmir and Leh Ladakh region, right? So clear from here itself. And then we have recent avalanche here. Impact was a lot of fatalities and injuries were reported as expected in avalanche, and concern was regarding the safety of key route between Kashmir Valley and Ladakh. Okay, because when such avalanche occurs, people are continuously using this pass, right? So how would they know that if they are traveling, going by car, whether they will be safe or not? Because we cannot have any kind of prediction also here that when avalanche will occur, right? So this is one of the we can say unpredictable kind of situation. So that is why discussion is going around here. Now we have to cover it from geographic perspective based on syllabus. So natural disasters we have to study, landslide, avalanche and all that. So avalanche simply can be defined as rapid movement of same snow, ice, debris, because if snow is moving everything, it will also break rock, okay, erode rock, and then whatever is deposited there, it will also come down. What can be the causes of avalanche? So first of all, you know that what need to be there? A heavy snow, high amount of snow. So heavy snowfall, okay, temperature is continuously rising. If temperature rises, what happens? Snow, a part of snow begins to melt rapidly. So when they begin to melt, what happens? Liquid. So imagine that everywhere you have snow and then we have liquid that is getting collected. What happens? Liquid is able to flow easily. So it will apply pressure. Due to this, what will happen? Snow and ice will also gradually start to move away such. And overall, what is pulling them? This is very important fact. A question can be asked that what are the factors or the forces that cause avalanche or landslide? It is driven by which force? Gravitational force. Okay, it is this force that pulls and plucks all these things here. Now, for avalanche to occur, for such a massive kind of snow to slide, it cannot happen if the slope is very, very gentle, something like that, because it will provide more stability to these structures. But if slope is kind of steeper, steeper means up to what degrees? 30 to 45 and more than that obviously. So along such slopes, 45 degrees, something like this, okay, half of 90. This is what kind of structurally unstable as such. So if the mass becomes very high, if the water starts to move due to melting, then gravity, its job become easier. And what it does? Easily pulls all the material toward the surface or valley itself. So very, very common in the high altitude region. It's not that only Himalayas we have this kind of situation. Almost all the mountain system which is covered with snow and have steeper slope, what we face? Such kind of problems. Now Jojila Pass, if you look at some of the important facts that we can keep in mind from prelims perspective. So first point is the location. Already location we have discussed, but one thing more we can write is that National Highway number 1, okay, that connects your Kashmir to Kanyakumari, that is located, basically Jojila Pass is located on that particular highway itself. Okay, altitude, no need to remember this data, but 11,575 feet. Already discussed Jayanagar to Leh. But question can be asked, is it all weather pass? The answer would be no, because in winter what happens? Entire pass basically is covered with heavy snowfall, so you cannot move to that area. So almost for 6 months, 6 months, the pass remains closed. There is no movement as such. So it is not an all weather pass, rather it is a seasonal pass. In the summer season, largely this area is being used here as such. Remained open due to advanced snow clearance that was going on. So that's why it still is open. Strategic and historical importance of this pass, again same point, where located? Great Himalaya. All the passes here discussed, Great Himalaya, Lesser Himalaya, right? Divides Kashmir and Kargil region on the other side. Troop and supply movement, very, very important, because two major lines you have here, line of actual control and line of control, right? So very strategic, and it played a very important role in 1948 when Indian Army launched Operation Bison against the movement of the Pakistani soldiers in this area. Tanks were used at high altitude here. So how were we able to take tanks? Because we had access via Jojila Pass itself. the same thing can be used in the future also. If suppose we are having a battle or war either with China on the eastern side or Pakistan on the western side, we need to take all our equipment, munitions, logistics and all. So there also we can say the maintenance of this pass, all time ensuring connectivity to this pass becomes very, very important. And it is because of this region, the government is currently constructing a tunnel. Okay, what is the advantage of tunnel? Because passes can be covered with snow. Okay, it becomes inaccessible. But tunnel you are making where? To the mountain itself. So it is covered by mountain. No matter how much snowfall takes place, what we can say that all year we can easily use this tunnel and pass it. Plus the distance also increases, the time also decreases, because when you're going in mountain, first of all you are going very, very slow. Plus you have a lot of turns, bends, twists and all that. So currently if you want to go from, let us say, Kashmir, cross the pass and go on the other side, how much time it takes? About 3.5 hours. That after construction of tunnel would reduce to how much? Just 15 minutes. Okay, so imagine 3.5 hours to just 15 minutes we have cut the time. So that means military can also mobilize it, use it, and our response time would become very, very low if any kind of war is going on, a battle starts, right? Second, it also is going to become the longest tunnel of India once it is constructed, and longest bi-directional tunnel of entire Asia. Bi-direction means you go from this side, you can come from that side also. So both sides you have the possibility of movement. So Jojila tunnel, question based on this can be asked, okay, why we are constructing it, where we are constructing it. That's about the first topic, that is Jojila Pass. Second topic we have is related to what we have? IMD summer forecast 2026 and heat waves in India. So IMD stands for, Indian Meteorological Department. So summer is about to come. That's why it has given a forecast. What kind of weather we can expect in the coming days, especially with reference to heat wave. Even in Bangalore, what kind of situation we're facing? Very hot summer if you compare with the previous year as such. That is because the effect of heat wave to some extent is being witnessed here. So it is in this regard, April to June forecast has been reduced. What is the concern? Compared to previous year, IMD expect that this year what we would face? Increase in number of days where we experience heat wave. What is heat wave? We'll discuss about it. But for now, first of all, the concern is higher number of heat wave days compared to previous year. And second, compared to previous year, what else will expect? Generally in night time you have some comfort because temperature reduces. But this year it seems that even in night time temperature would remain elevated compared to previous year. So daytime also will have more number of heat wave. Night time also temperature would remain slightly elevated as such. So overall, because of this, what we face? Overall, for many days we'll have this hot conditions, difficult conditions. Affected region, which are the region that is going to be most affected? So this is going to affect most eastern part of India. Eastern part means Odisha, we are talking about Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal. Central part of India, that is Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and northwestern India, that means Rajasthan, Gujarat, these areas such. Apart from that, southeastern part of peninsula. So southeastern part of peninsula means south and east. Which region? Part of Karnataka, part of Tamil Nadu, Telangana, overall we can say. So all these regions, states are going to be affected by higher number of heat wave days. So above normal heat wave days, the same thing we have discussed. Apart from that, these regions that we have talked about, like northern India, generally northern India like Delhi, UP, what happens? Temperature remains very, very high, 45, 46. But this year it seems that IMD is saying that they would be relatively cooler as compared to other part of India. So more cooling effect in northern India and heating effect in other part of India. That's it. North India, what they will face? Cooler than normal summer as such. East India, Southeast India, Northwest India, what? More number of heat wave days, higher temperature during the night time. That is the regional variation. Now, which state is going to be affected most by the heat waves? So there, these are the states that is given here. Again, no need to remember all this, just for understanding purposes. Odisha, West Bengal, same state as we have discussed before. And peak will be, the high heat wave, extreme heat wave like situation also we can face in the future. Then second is about, before moving to that, let us first cover this heat wave. What are heat waves definition? Then we'll come to the second type of forecast. So heat waves, what do we have? Simple, unusual high temperature that you are recording, unusual compared to previous historical averages that you have. In India, generally it is experienced during what month? March to June, with peaking in May. Right? Why it is so simple? What is causing heating? The movement of sun. So by April, okay, by March, what happens? Like for example, equator is nearby. So on 21st of March, sun is directly overhead equator. That means it is very, very close to India. So start its heating effect. And then since March to 21st of June, it keeps moving over India and reaches where? Tropic of Cancer. So we can say the maximum heating that India receives, maximum insolation that we can say India receives is during which month? March to June, because sun is almost and directly overhead over southern part of India as such. So that is why. So that is the region why we have here. Peak is May, because May is where it is directly above. And why even June, if you look, 21st of June, sun is overhead. July also it will be overhead. August, September. It is after September, again at September it will reach here. So why not between June to September we are facing heat wave? Simple reason. Because then what starts? Rainy season. Okay, after June, 1st of June we have entry of monsoon. So as long as the rainy season lasts, what happens? Heat wave cannot take place because cooling effect is produced here. So in the first wave, when sun is moving northward, there is no rain. So maximum heating is taking place. Second phase, sun is still over India, but now rainfall is going on. That's why heat wave is not experienced. So this by logic also, if you do not know this, by logic also you can solve such kind of questions in prelims. Okay, there cannot be heat wave in July, August because rainy season, monsoon season we have. So that is point. Now very important point to understand. This is how UPSC can trick you in the prelims examination. They can say that this year you will have unusual number of heat wave days, and second option can be that heat wave is classified as disaster under DM Act. So that is incorrect. Okay, heat waves obviously causes death, problems, diseases, heat strokes and all, but it is not considered disaster under Disaster Management Act 2005 as such. Okay, so there was basically discussion going on. Last year, if I remember, many of the experts were saying that heat wave should be classified as disaster. But then some expert from government stated that we cannot do that because only those phenomena we are classifying a disaster which has probability of causing very high number of casualty, death, disruption, okay, as such. So landslides, right? You have the cyclones, they cause very large extent of damage. Heat wave is obviously difficult to survive for many people, but it is not causing mass casualty, okay, as such. So there is a discussion about it. Driven by geographical plus climatic factors, both factors to some extent are responsible for heat wave. Now IMD, how we can say that whether it is heat wave day today or not heat wave day. So classification is there. First of all, two areas we have, plain areas and hilly areas. In plain areas, temperature must reach how many degrees Celsius? 40 degrees Celsius. And in hilly areas, it must reach this. If temperature is this much and above, then only we can consider whether we should call it a heat wave or not. If temperature is less than this, the area cannot even be considered for heat wave. Okay, that is the thing. Now what happens when we can say we have heat wave? If suppose the average temperature in that area was how much? 38 degrees Celsius. Now temperature has reached how much? 45 degrees Celsius. We'll check this condition. Is it more than 40? The answer is yes, it is more than 40. So yes, we can consider this area to be heat wave. Is departure from normal this? Yes or no? 38, it is even more than this, more than 7 degrees Celsius. So if suppose temperature was 43 degrees Celsius, what is average temperature? Normal, 38. How much it is higher by? 5 degrees. Does it fit this condition? Yes. So we can say, what do we have? Heat wave. If this condition was there, temperature is how much? 45. How much is temperature? 7. That means departure is greater than 6.4. So we can say that what kind of situation we have? Severe heat wave. Okay. So all three conditions, 40 degrees Celsius or more, departure from normal this heat wave, departure from normal more than this severe heat wave. Based on actual maximum temperature. Okay. Suppose that in many places we do not consider this because average temperature is not data or it fluctuates a lot. In that case, what also can be used for declaration of heat wave? Actual maximum temperature at any place. If it goes more than or equal to 45 degrees Celsius, no matter what, we can declare it as a heat wave. And again, if it crosses over and equal to 47 degrees Celsius, we can classify it as a severe heat wave. So both of the conditions are used based on one calculation is departure from normal and second is simple based on what is the maximum temperature recorded at a particular place if these two conditions are being met here as such. So that is how, and In two station, that means meteorological subdivisions you have. So in district, several districts are there, or within that you have taluks and all that. So based on the station, they declare it that whether it is heat wave or not. That is a simple way of classification. Now question is that causes. What causes heat wave like situation? So again, in India, we know insolation is the main factor. And why insolation? Because India lies in tropical zone. Tropical cancer is passing through the central part of India itself. And that's why the extent of insolation, intense solar radiation we are experiencing. Second, in the peninsular part, the probability is higher. Why it is higher? Two reasons. First of all, peninsular plateau is made up of rocks. Rocks are basically devoid of moisture, so they are not basically causing any kind of cooling effect. So whenever insolation strikes them, most of energy is being absorbed. Albedo, we can say, albedo we have discussed, albedo of such rocky surface is very low, right? So that is why we have heat retention. Second, the soil also in Deccan part is black, and you know black soil means what? When the color becomes darker and darker, the absorption capacity is higher, right? So as compared to alluvial soil, right, we have very high this heat retention capacity. So black soil and rocky terrain. Second, we have discussed in the temperature chapter, I told you about ATR, average annual temperature range, how the situation changes as you move away from coast. So near Mumbai, what happened? Temperature does not rise much, does not fall much. But in inland part like Delhi and all that, what happens? There is a heating effect only. There is no cooling effect because there is a lack of any water bodies, coastline and all. So inland areas, they have any lack of cooling effect, that's why also. And this also we have discussed in class. Urban heat island in albedo, I told you that in the case of albedo, the surface with lowest albedo is which one? Asphalt. Okay, and in urban areas, a lot of other structure that you have, concrete that you are using, roads that you are making up, the glasses that you are using in building, they are always continuously absorbing heat. So due to this also, if you compare rural areas and urban areas of the same latitude, what do you see? Urban areas have higher temperature. So they behave like kind of what? Hot island surrounded by cooler rural areas. So both, all these three factors collectively we can say is responsible for what situation? Higher temperature than normal general. That is the thing. Now this is always the case because there is no changes going on as such here. Sun every time moves with the same speed, we can say. It always gives us same amount of energy. So what changes? In the some year you have less number of heat waves, some year you have higher number of heat wave. So that is controlled by which factor? Because it is changing every year as such. So low rainfall and cloud cover, what did it produce? More number of heat wave. Because if clouds are present for a longer duration, they will basically filter the sunlight. It will not able to fall on the surface. So that is the thing. Second, if humidity is very high, clouds are not forming, but humidity is very high. Water vapor is what? Trap greenhouse gas. Basically it traps energy. So it does not allow heat to escape. What happens? Heat remains trapped very close to surface, temperature keeps on rising up. Weak winds and high pressure. Right? Winds also serve as a way how heat is being transferred from one region to other region. But if wind movement is very weak, absent, heat will remain trapped at a particular place itself. It will not be able to transport it away. Advective transfer, you can say, that is continuously missing here. And then in some cases like El Nino we have discussed. Whenever you have El Nino like condition, monsoon is weaker. So low rainfall, less clouds, more number of heat wave days, and low winds, local winds we have discussed, blowing in the northwestern part of India, this areas, right? Hot, dusty, dry wind. If low wind is more stronger, they would exacerbate and amplify such situation. So what we can say, geographical factor is permanent factor. It creates the possibility or potential to have heat waves in India. Climatic factor is influencing what? How many days you will have heat wave. If climatic factors are non-favorable, number of heat wave days are high. If climatic factors are favorable, like suppose you had a La Nina like condition, what would happen? Number of heat wave days will reduce. So both these factors, static plus dynamic, are influencing heat wave. Apart from the heat wave, there are some other predictions that this IMD has done. So western disturbances, about them they are saying. Expected, what is expected? That in the month of April, remember we have discussed about that in class in the monsoon. I told you why does monsoon enter India, or when does monsoon enter India? You have subtropical westerly jet stream. So one branch is flowing to the south of Himalayas. As long as this branch remains to the south of Himalayas, what kind of pressure is created here? High pressure. So winds, monsoon winds cannot enter India. But What is the other influence of this branch? It is coming from Mediterranean Sea region. It is bringing a lot of moisture, water vapor, and then they strike Himalayas, causes rainfall, right? So in the month of April, what happens? Still this branch is existing here. It is this year expected to bring more moisture. It is more stronger than usual. That's why what will happen? In the Himalayas, in the northern part of India, 12% more rainfall than normal years is expected. That is because of the higher number of western disturbances, increased western disturbances. Western disturbances is nothing but the name given to the storms that is being brought by subtropical westerly jet stream. Okay, because it's coming from where? West to east. That's why western disturbances. Impact is temperature. That's why now you can connect. What I told you, the IMD is saying that northern part of India would experience cooler summer. Why they'll experience cooler summer? Because cloudy conditions, rainfall conditions are favoring it. So that's why moderate temperature and people of the northern India would receive temporary relief from the hot conditions, heat wave like condition. That is the second point. Third prediction is related to what? El Nino we have discussed. So this year we have talked about in class that El Nino is not an annual occurrence. It happens after every 3 to 5 years, sometimes 7 years and all. So this year IMD has stated that there is a possibility of El Nino by the month of July. So if El Nino happens, we already know what will happen. Monsoon will become weaker. The disruption and delay in monsoon can also be experienced as such. So that is the point. So cooler summer may reduce land heating. So that is why it can also affect the onset of monsoon. Because imagine more rainfall in northern India. Try to connect it. Suppose that subtropical westerly jet stream already has shifted to the north of Himalayas. Now low pressure exists here. What should happen? Monsoon wind should come from both sides, Arabian Sea side, Bay of Bengal side. Why? Because here heating is taking place. High temperature means, okay, remember Halley's convection model, thermal convection we have discussed, that high temperature, low pressure, low temperature, high pressure. Wind is simply moving. But right now we have just discussed that what is expected in northern part of India? More rain. That means now surface will be relatively colder. If surface is relatively colder, the extent of low pressure, value of low pressure would be slightly elevated. That means the pressure difference is low. If pressure difference is low, what it would influence? The strength of wind. So monsoon might not able to move at a required strength. So understand what is going to affect monsoon. First is El Nino, adverse effect. Second is higher number of rainfall, higher amount of rainfall in northern part of India. So cool surface means weaker monsoon. So both of them are pointing to what fact? That this year we might have slightly lesser rainfall in the monsoon season compared to the earlier years as such. So that is the thing. What are heat waves? Low pressure will decrease? No, it will increase. Value of low pressure. Without rain, if it is 980 millibar. After rain, what will be? 970 or 990? 990. Okay, because heating is less. Heating is low temperature, so pressure will be higher, right? So that will be case. Understood not? Clear? Right. See, simple. Suppose temperature is, let us suppose temperature is how much? 35 degrees Celsius, and corresponding pressure is 980 millibar. Now, if more rainfall is taking place, what can be temperature? Let us assume 30. So this value should go down or go up? Go up. So what will happen? Okay, so value of low pressure is higher than expected. If value of low pressure is higher, and suppose that there is no change in Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean is still, what is pressure? 1020. In this case, what is pressure difference? 40 millibar. Wind is moving according to 40 millibar of pressure. Here, what is the pressure? Only 20 millibar. So pressure difference is less. Strength of wind would be lesser. Okay, so what will happen? Monsoon would be relatively weaker. Okay, due to cooling effect. That's what. So that is the point. That is the second. Third we have is the elimination of left-wing extremism in India. In the classes, internal security class, we have discussed that the government is trying to completely eradicate So extremism. This was set in the last year itself, April 2025. The Home Minister has stated that by next year, April 2026, what we would do? Completely eradicate Naxalism, left-wing extremism from the India as such. So basically, first of all, from red corridor to growth corridor, that is the statement government has given. Red corridor earlier, if you look at 2013, more than 180 districts are affected by Naxalism here as such. So, okay, basically because of Naxalism, development is being disrupted as such. Okay, nothing is going on here, no economic infrastructure and all that. So now government has, you can see, in 2025, what was this? Pockets only left. And 2026, now government is saying that even these pockets now have been, right, Naxalism eliminated. So we are now trying to build red corridor, that is Naxal affected areas, trying to convert into growth corridor. That means economic development, employment generation, and elimination of poverty, we can say, bringing up of government schemes and all that is being done. So it is overall focused upon strategy, security and development. Now, why it is a new? Same thing, because Maoists largely eliminated in the Bastar. Bastar was the last bastion, we can say, last bastion of Naxals, last bastion of left-wing extremists. It is in Chhattisgarh. So from there also they have largely been eliminated, and India has moved toward Naxal-free status as such. Target was complete elimination by March 2026. So on 3rd of April, government stated that we have achieved this objective. So Bastar was key, LWE stronghold as discussed. Overall strategy is national policy action plan, we can say multi-pronged approach. Multi-pronged means they fought Naxalism not only by using security interventions, they have carried out development there. So the sympathizers of Naxals, they also have turned against them. Now they are saying that it is better that government is doing something for us. So why we should be helping and supporting Naxals? So multi-pronged approach, clear hold and build doctrine government built in. That means earlier what was the problem? That you carried out security operation, you killed some Naxal commander, and for temporary period Naxals have fled away from there, right? So you declared it is Naxal free. Again, security forces cannot stay at the same village and same place for continuous period of time. So they went ahead, went somewhere else. And again what happened? Naxals returned back. Why? Because it did not address the root cause. What is root cause? The poverty, unemployment. So Naxals used to come say that you do not have a job anyway, youth population. What would you do? Come with us, fight with us, we'll give you gun, we'll give you power, we'll give you salary, wages, pensions, everything. Right? So they were running kind of parallel government. Why? Because the main government was absent. So that changed because government said no, we'll not only clear it, we'll then hold the area. How will hold the area? Will ensure that governance does not vacate its place there. Governance is not missing from there. So hold, and then what will do? Once you hold it, you keep on building, right? And that basically does not allow Naxals to come back here. So red zones to growth corridor, as we discussed, that is the objective. Security measures we have discussed in class. Okay, in the internal security, if not, we will talk about all these doctrines in detail. It will take a lot of time. So Samadhan is the doctrine under which government is currently. Samadhan means what? Solution. Okay, so each of the letter means something that we will talk about this in class in detail. The special forces we have built: Cobra, Greyhound, DRG. Several operations we have conducted in last couple of years. Some name of the operations. Acha, how questions can be framed from here? UPSC in prelims I can give you like this. Recently these names were in news. Octopus, double bull, chakrabandha, or suppose they just give this, octopus and double bull was news. What does it relate to? New animal species discovered. Okay, animals that is found only in Asia. Operation launched by the security forces, right? And this is the place where you can get confused if you have never read about it. Because what are these actually? Octopus is animal, double bull seems like animal as such. So you might, if you have to guess, you might guess something related to animal, but it is security based operation. So octopus, double bull, chakrabandha, Kagar was the recent one, which led to killing of one of the deadliest commander of the Naxal group, Maoist group, called as Basava Raju. Okay, he was the commander for almost 20 years. Okay, so his killing had a significant impact on decline of Naxalism. So last year, August 2025, that is when he was killed. The forward operating bases we have set up in jungle, so that from there itself we can carry out operation. We do not have to retreat back to the urban areas and the bases. NIA, ED also, because any security threats that we face, Naxalism, terrorism, insurgency, how are they able to survive? Because they are able to fund their operation. How are they able to fund their operation? Because somewhere they are getting finances from. It can be because of the illegal involvement in drug trafficking, weapons trafficking. Naxals also are carrying out illegal mining. Okay, a lot of coal, iron ore you have in that area. They are selling wildlife, okay, tiger, rhino, elephant tusk and all that after killing of them. Right. Apart from that, several other sources also they have. So government understood that if you have to really decimate Naxals, we cannot just keep on fighting with the personals themselves, because you killed 100 people, 100 more people they will hire because they have money power. So what we have to attack? Finances. If they do not have access to finance, they cannot hire someone that will give you gun power and salary and wages, right? So that's why people will not have any incentive to join Naxalism. Understand, if they are not able to get even normal job, why they are joining Naxalism? Because they are getting some money from them. If Naxals are not able to pay, why would any youth would risk their life just to fight for free, right? So that also led to what? Reduction in the number of recruits that were earlier joining the cause of Naxalism. Plus build, we have discussed that clear, hold and build. What is the build? So several things we have done. The most important is RCPLWA, Road Construction Program for Left-Wing Extremism Affected Areas. Okay, short form here. So road construction, road requirement project, RRP it is called as. So several thousands of crores were granted to provide last mile connectivity to the Naxal affected areas. Reason is simple. Why? Because if roads are missing, if Naxals are present there, you have got this intelligence. By the time you reach there, they would already flee, right? So response time of security forces would significantly reduce if road connectivity is provided. Second, how would you communicate with the local people, officials, right? You have to have internet, telecommunication connectivity on all that. So 100% 4G coverage we are trying to do in the WE affected areas. Mobile tower project it is called as. So we launched mobile tower project where in all Naxal affected districts we are trying to set up the mobile tower projects, mobile towers. Then how would you ensure that people, like especially in tribal areas, lot of sympathy you had toward Naxals. One reason was lack of education or education facility provided by government, right? So for them we have set up EMRS, Eklavya Model Residential School. So the tribal children can stay there and study there. Their entire expenses can be borne by government itself. Plus for people who are of higher age, ITIs, so that they can be skilled, based on the skill they can get job anywhere in India. So if they're able to get normal job, obviously the this prospect of them joining Naxal cause would be lesser. So that is how we have done. Banking and financial inclusion we have done, right? So that the last mile connectivity, if any government scheme can benefit local population, okay, such as Pension Yojana, you have Bridge Pension Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana, or apart from that you have the insurance schemes and all that. How would you provide benefit? Only if they have bank account. So that is required under financial inclusion. Then we have Dharti Aba Gram Abhiyan. Okay, Dharti Aba Gram Abhiyan is simple, nothing much, but to provide basic facilities. Because when government carried out the survey, they found that villagers, tribals did not have very aspiration like I want BMW or car or something like that. They want simply what? They are happy in very basic stuff. There should be house, there should be food, there should be water, clean water, right? And there should be some opportunity how they can earn livelihood. So this is what government focused upon. That if government is able to provide even basic facilities, we can say the effect of Naxals can be significantly reduced, and that is what we have done. So these are the schemes that we have covered under build program. Challenges and way forward. So obviously we are claiming that we have decimated and eradicated Naxalism, but there is a challenge, it can come back. Why it can come back? Because there are several gaps that we have. The rights that we have given to tribals through legislation, for example, through constitution, for example, we have to ensure that they are able to enjoy those rights. So forest right acts we have, implementation is weak. Government has said that will give land to all the traditional forest dweller tribe. Problem is that when they are going to ask for the land, officials are saying that prove me that you have been living here in forest area. Now imagine tribals who are living for hundreds of years, they do not have any document to prove, right, that they have been living there. So these kind of problems we have to eliminate. Governance gaps are there. People still, government officials still are not very willing to go and work in tribal areas. They still are trying to work from the big cities and all that. So that is the thing. So that's why there is a risk of resurgence. Need inclusive development. Lopsided development will not work here. A strengthening of local governance, and at the same time, we cannot just be satisfied now that we have removed Naxalism. Security forces and the operation we have to end. Right? We have to still what? Continue security pressure. We have to keep on carrying out operation, keep on sending security forces in those areas where Naxals were seen or Naxals had used to enjoy their support and all that. So that is the thing. Example we can say like in central part, eastern part, that's where they used to have their stronghold. So when security forces began to carry out combing operation, right, what we see is that now they have shifted ways. So In the northeastern region, now we are seeing the Naxals also are trying to gain their foothold. Earlier, they were completely missing from there. So many Naxal leaders have been found to be hiding where? Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, they are trying to join hand with the insurgent groups in the northeastern region, like Naga rebellions and all that. So that is also we have to keep in mind that we do not just clean from one area and then let them or allow them to go in some other part of country. We should have a holistic understanding that how they are acting or reacting. That is the. Then next is decentralized water harvesting in India, and that was announced by Prime Minister recently in a rally. So PM has highlighted that in last years we have developed 50 lakh water harvesting structures. Okay, water harvesting, local water harvesting structures, you can say 70,000 plus what is referred as Amrit Sarovar. It is a local pond. Okay, it is nothing but local pond that people are building in the areas where you have rainfall. It's 70,000 plus Amrit Sarovar, 50 lakh water harvesting structure. So why we are talking about it? Try to connect with the IMD's forecast. What is IMD saying? Lesser rainfall we are going to expect this year. Heat wave conditions are going to be more. So if more heat wave, whatever water even you have, they will evaporate more. So water loss is higher. So that would lead to rising groundwater stress and crisis. And to some extent, we can try to tackle it through these measures that we have taken in last year as such. So these water storage structures can provide temporary relief to the people as such. Now between 2015 and 2026, we have created a lot of check dams. Check dams means small scale dam you create, so the water does not flow and go in the rivers and ocean as such. Farm ponds, in the farm areas you create local ponds, recharge shafts that you have. So Mission Amrit Sarovar was launched, where 70,000 plus lakes were targeted here, and 75% of India's districts were targeted, where we have to build such kind of structures based on the local geography as such. The principle was driven by the approach of catch the rain. Whenever you have rainfall, what you do? You store the rainwater and you use it during the dry period as such. So catch the rain, where it falls and when it falls. So wherever rainfall is going to take place, rainfall is taking place, whenever it is taking place, make sure that you catch it. Okay, do not let it go waste. So that is what we have done. Especially this is true for the peninsular Indias, because in the North India, when rainfall goes on, even if you do not store it, you have the plain. So what happens? Right, groundwater gets recharged. In peninsular India, what happens? Whatever rainfall is taking place, if you are not able to store it, it would simply keep flowing above the rocks, and through the rivers and channels, it would go in the sea. Once it goes in sea, it becomes saline water. That means it becomes useless for us. That's why where it falls, when it falls, we have to catch it. So this is a shift that we are seeing, because earlier we were more focused on constructing large dams only. Okay, store water in the large dams. Now we are trying to make it decentralized in nature. So wherever we are able to do it, we are able to catch the rain. We are able to create some local structures, and that can be used for the village purposes. Understand what is significance? Dam you will have one place. Maybe you will have one dam in one of the city, or not even in city, one of the state as such. Suppose 2-3 dams you have in the state. You have hundreds of villages in the state. You cannot supply water to all the villages at a local level through dams only. The infrastructure, canal construction is not that easy. But if you are trapping water in each of the village locally, what would happen? It would take care of the local population needs itself. That is why. So groundwater importance in crisis, why we are talking about it? Because India, first of all, to give you idea, if you look at the year 1950s, per capita water availability was 5,000 cubic meter, we can say. As per recent report, it has fallen down to how much? 1400 per capita. Population has increased, plus the water structures also has reduced, number of lakes, tanks and all that. So imagine such huge decline we have faced as a nation. Okay, so we are losing our water, especially groundwater, and that's why conservation of water is very important task we have to do. So dependency, 60% of irrigation of India is dependent on what? Rainfall. 85% of groundwater. 85% of drinking water comes from where? Groundwater. So if groundwater start to decline, if the water table start to fall down, what would happen? It would directly threaten these two, which is vital for food security, water security. If you do not have these two, nothing else matters. Right? What are the basic needs for human to survive? Food, water. Irrigation gives you crop, crop gives you food. Okay, drinking water. So concern is that 14% of blocks that you have in India are already overexploited, of the groundwater blocks that we have surveyed. Overexploited means more water is being extracted than being recharged by the natural causes such as rainfall. India at the global scale also has emerged as largest extractor of groundwater. 25% of entire world's groundwater is extracted where? In India itself. Right? Causes, what is the causes? Many times it is the, we can say, the careless attitude of the people who are extracting, like farmers. In Punjab plain, I told you, farmers switch on the tube well and then go to sleep. Why? Because they do not have to worry about electricity bill. They get subsidized electricity. So no matter how much pump runs, they do not have to pay. So conservation of water, these things do not come into your mind. Why? Because presently they do not see crisis. Okay, at present they feel that they have enough water. It is only after 30, 40, 50 years they would start seeing the scarcity, right? So that's why this is a challenge. Second is cropping pattern also, because most of time in India what we are growing? Cereal crops, rice, wheat, sugarcane, all of them require what? High volume water. That is taken from groundwater. And regulations are also weak. How much a farmer can extract water, how much a person can extract water, there is no regulation about it as such, right? So it depends on, if suppose two people are there, one is able to buy motor and we can say drill tube well, other person does not have money, he cannot buy water. So he is simply using what? Old well, okay, normal well. What is going on? In the same area, one person is extracting more water, other person is extracting less water. So you do not have right, everyone is enjoying same right. It depends on the capability as such. So there we have to carry out some kind of regulation. It was this suggested by many committees in the past as well. Now the tube, this structures that Sarovar, Amrit Sarovar and all that we have constructed, government is also trying to properly monitor it, because once you construct, after that someone else will come in, encroach the land and start building houses there, right? So that's why geo-tagging is being done, that this Sarovar is there in this village at this latitude, longitude. Every couple of weeks or months, local officials will have to go inspect it, that no one is damaging the structures and all that. So monitoring is being done, that is good thing. Standard design is what? Simple. 1 acre area of design they have, 10,000 meter cube of capacity one Sarovar will have. Community's role will be to plantation, recreation activities also people can do in the rural areas. Mechanism is check dams to slow runoff. Okay, water will flow at slow rate. Farm ponds are there to store water, can be used during irrigation season, in agriculture month for irrigation purposes. And recharge shafts are there so that aquifers can be recharged as such. Significance and way forward. What is significance of such water conservation method? This is the only thing you have to look at. India has total 18% of world's population, but only how much percentage of world's fresh water? 4%. Okay, so there is a kind of mismatch you have, huge mismatch. So water we have is very, very less compared to the population that require this water. So that's why decentralized system can play an important role. We have to scale it, we have to strengthen our regulation, and we also have to promote what? Sustainable practices, right? And this has to be done not only at government level, at large level like state and this we can say district. It has to be done at community level, and after community we can focus on individuals also, right? Because individually when you think from water conservation perspective, every drop of water that you save, okay, imagine millions of people are doing the same. What you are doing? Saving a lot of water. So it can be as simple as switching off, what you can call this, turning off your tap when you do not use water, right? So such kind of things do not click us, because for us, what you do? You want water, switch, turn it on, okay, you get water. So 2 years back, we had faced problem in Bangalore for the first time, right? 2023, I think. What we had? Lot of problems, crisis in many parts. Tankers are not able to bring water and all that. Why? Because heat wave like condition and groundwater was very, very less. Water in Kaveri river from where we are getting water in Bangalore was relatively less as such. So whenever crisis comes, people start to panic, okay, and then they forget about it. That's why awareness is very important. The last topic is related to defense. India has come up with MDD strategy, multi-domain deterrence strategy in year 2026. So multi-domain deterrence. So first of all, what is the need of this strategy? Why it is in use? The strategy has come on the account of widening of military gap that we are seeing between India and China. Chinese military are basically modernizing at much more rapid speed compared to India. So due to rapid modernization of PLA means People's Liberation Army. That's what they have given name to their military as such. So People's Liberation Army, Chinese army, they are rapidly modernizing. So concern is that India's deterrence capability is weakening. Deterrence means if China decides to attack tomorrow, why they would think before attacking. Okay, that is called as deterrence. Chinese, if they think that if we attack, what can be the damages we'll have to face? What kind of repercussions we have to face? If repercussions are going to be very humongous, that would act as a deterrence. Okay, so deterrence means you want to avoid something because you are scared of your enemy's capability. So nuclear weapon is best example of deterrence. So country which has nuclear weapon, other country would not easily try to attack. Why? Because they know that in worst case nuclear weapons can be fired as such. Understood? So that is the thing. Now in case of India and China, such deterrence is there, but still it is kind of less because China also have nuclear weapon, India also has nuclear weapon. And second thing is that the use of nuclear weapons is not that easy. Okay, if you have war raging on, going on, right, you cannot just use nuclear weapons because first of all, it will create mutually assured destruction. Understood? Right? And that's why that many times people say that it is a deterrence, but at the same time it is also not a deterrence because using is, you need very high scale of what you can call as the scale for use, right? The parameter for use is very, very higher as such. So that is the problem. So response is shifting toward multi-domain deterrence as such, right? So that is why it was new. So first of all, we have to understand what is multi-domain deterrence. Integrated strategy, because we have different wings of military, land, air, sea, and nowadays what we are using apart from that? Cyber domain, that is new one. Space we are using for it. Cognitive domain, that means it refers to social media, how you are handling psychological operations largely you can say, how you are trying to project your image, what you are trying to show on the social media and all that. So all this basically currently functions in a kind of silo. They are operating in their own domain. So army is operating along with themselves, air force is operating along with themselves. So what we are trying to do? Create an integrated strategy where all of these should come together, work together to overall increase the capability and capacity of India as such. So that is in written. So from silo approach, we have to have a system of systems warfare, the deterrence by denial linked with the this all realm, all domain operation, ARADO it is called as. That means our operation, our military strategy should cover what? All realms. Realm means land, water, air. Domains means these are all the domains as such. So that is what we are trying to come up with. What is the need for MDD? Already we discussed. Challenge that we see due to China, because China has invested heavily in the military terms for development of artificial intelligence. So how military can use artificial intelligence? Then they have invested heavily in manufacturing and this basically sending a lot of satellites and all that, so they can have a better understanding of any change taking place in India. Precision missiles they have developed, and the biggest thing is that India faces two front threat, okay, because of the borders, right? So if you have, this is Kashmir, this side you have Pakistan, this side you have China, and the bad thing is that both of these countries are what, right, very friendly. So if Pakistan, China both comes and join hand together and in the same area, we can have difficulty in managing two enemies at one time. One enemy, one country we can tackle at least, okay, once. So that's why we have to have such kind of approach. Gray zone warfare. These days you can see warfare is not only about that someone entered into territory, captured it, kill your soldiers and all, something like that. Today it is more of what? Cyber attacks. So a lot of cyber attack that we have faced in India last couple of years, their source can directly be traced to either Pakistan or China. So like recently we have power grid failure in Mumbai. What it was found? Chinese hackers were behind it. AIMS, their server shut down suddenly. What happened? APT hackers of China were behind. So many such cases we have seen in the past as well. So this is what we have to be prepared against. Disinformation. Today what do we have? Information is creating perception. So if bad information, wrong information is being spread toward a particular country, what happens? The international help and support that you receive becomes relatively low. And that is what we say about Operation Sindoor also, that we might have won the war there, okay, on the defense front. But where did we lose? In the information. Pakistan had edge in information. They were able to spread a lot of such information and were able to gain favor, right? And they were able to project that Pakistan has basically destroyed many of the aircrafts of India, okay, and all these kind of things. So that's where also we have to work on. Maritime vulnerability, that's where also our we can say economic trade lies, because 90% of trade that India carries out, it is through which route? maritime route. Okay, so ocean route. So that's where also China is trying to build here. So what is the strategic choice for India? Three things are what strategists have recommended. First, what you can do is the bold approach. That means we directly copy China. Copy means how they are developing. We also develop military on the same lines. So they have invested heavily on AI. We'll do also. Today's warfare is more about drones, okay, unmanned aerial vehicles. So we also have to heavily deploy such drones in large number. We have to create, manufacture drones in large number, and also in quantum technology. What is the risk? Just wishing it will not be enough. You have to have industrial capacity. If you want to create thousands of drones, how will you create? First, develop the industrial ecosystem, right? Then you can create. This is where we are facing shortages, okay, or weak capacity. Second is based on our capacity, then we can take which approach? Conservative approach, where we can improve whatever existing systems that we have, like air defense system. We already have existing. What we can try to do? Improve is. That's what we are trying to do here, right? Limitations is that if you keep improving your existing system, in long term you will not see any significant shift in your strategy, doctrine, and the capacity as such. Third is the middle path that strategy suggests is best for India. What do you have to do? You have to combine legacy. You do not have to completely forego and neglect the conventional system that you have, air defense system. You have different ranges of missiles, short range, long range, medium range, and all that. Cruise missiles, we have developed BrahMos and all these kind of things. So we have to ensure that it remains our strong point. So legacy we have to combine, but at the same time we cannot be left far behind in adoption of new tech. So we also have to integrate what? AI. We have to integrate drone manufacturing. We have to focus on ISR, that is surveillance and intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance and all that, right? Logistics we have to improve upon. Infrastructure we have to improve. China is building infrastructure in border areas 4 to 5 times faster than India, right? So this is something we have to catch upon. Imagine that Chinese are able to build 90,000 soldiers within 2 to 3 days. If we do not have enough structures, infrastructure such as roadways, air bases, the tunnels that we are building right now, so we will not be able to match them. So that's why the Jojila tunnel can be example of what? Improvement in infrastructure we are doing in those areas. Systemic challenges remains weak defense industrial base that we face in India. The industrial base largely in defense still is of what nature? Government control, public. Private participation is now increasing, but still it is very low compared to other countries. So there we have to improve, bring more and more private players so they can manufacture at fast rate. Inefficient procurement. Procurement means what you are buying, whatever you are buying. So many times there is a lot of bureaucratic hurdles, red tapeism as you can call it. So you post tender today, and then buying will be after several years because it has to go through a lot of loopholes, ministerial approvals, this approval, that approval. That is something we have to improve. If we want something, if Indian military wants something, it has to be procured at rapid rate. Okay, we have to cut through all the noise, red tapeism, bureaucratic procedures. Our CO4I SR system, that means command control, again intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance system is still fragmented. So it is being done and handled individually at a right different, like Air Force have their own, Navy have their own, Army have their own. So we have to build a integrated system. No unified national strategy, okay, as of now. And final insight is what India needs: integrated tech-driven deterrence to match China. Integrated means legacy system that you have, well-developed system that you have existing today, you integrate that with a tech-driven system, okay, and that's only when you can have a powerful, okay, force that you can handle both China and Pakistan, okay, at the same time. Now, if you look at some of the questions, okay, with reference to decentralized water harvesting India, consider the following statement. What is the correct option? Yeah, very simple. Two and three. Okay, first is because we are focused upon a small scale dam. Second, in the context of India's defense strategy, multi-domain deterrence. Okay, what does it refer to? Simple integration of land, air, cyberspace and cognitive domain for deterrence. Then with reference to avalanche in mountains region, what is the correct statement? Two and three. Okay, this is 35 to 40 degrees more than enough for avalanche, 60 degrees too steep. Then last, consider the following statement regarding heat waves. 2 and 3, right? Because heat waves are still not classified as the disaster. So that's all.